I need to be honest with you right now. I've been doing this for a long time. I look at weather maps every single day, and what I'm looking at right now, for the first week of May, is genuinely one of the stranger setups I've seen in years. You went outside recently and thought, wait, why does it feel like October? You maybe pulled out a jacket, maybe a sweater, in May, and that feeling you had? That confusion? That's actually telling you something real about what's happening in the atmosphere right now. And what's about to happen over the next 7 days is directly connected to it. Two separate storm systems are coming. One is already moving. The second one punches in during the middle of next week. Both of them bring the full package. Damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes on the table. If you live anywhere near the Gulf Coast, Florida, the Great Plains, Ohio Valley, or what we call Dixie Alley, this video matters for you today. Please stay with me through the whole thing. Let's get into it. Before I show you who's at risk and when, I want to explain why any of this is happening. Because once you understand the setup, everything else clicks into place. Right now, there's a massive low-pressure system parked over northeastern Canada. And what that system is doing, it's acting like a vacuum. It's pulling cold air straight down out of Canada and funneling it through the Great Plains and into the Ohio Valley. That's why you're cold. That's why it doesn't feel like May. Now here's where it gets interesting from a severe weather standpoint. Cold air pushing down from the north, warm, humid air being pulled up from the Gulf of Mexico. When those two air masses collide, that's the recipe. That's what fires off powerful thunderstorm complexes. And that collision is going to happen repeatedly over the next 7 days. Here's what makes this pattern unusual, though. This isn't the setup where you get one giant organized storm system rolling across the entire Midwest and Great Plains like we saw multiple times in April. That's not what May is shaping up to be. Instead, we're looking at a pattern where smaller, faster-moving storms develop in localized areas, which sounds less scary, but honestly, in some ways it's harder to deal with, because instead of everyone in a region being on alert together, you might have one county getting hammered while the county next to it is completely fine. Localized outbreaks. Harder to pin down exactly where. More important than ever to stay connected to your local warnings. The Climate Prediction Center is already showing that below average temperatures are the most likely outcome across the Great Plains, Midwest, and most of the East Coast for at least the next 10 days. Above average temps only out on the West Coast. So if you're in the middle of the country and you keep waiting for it to feel like spring finally, I hate to say it, but it might be a couple more weeks. Now let's talk about the actual threats, starting with today. The number one concern today is not actually severe weather. I want to be upfront about that. The biggest risk today is flooding. If you're in Texas or Louisiana right now, you've probably already seen significant rainfall this morning. And it's not stopping anytime soon. A lot of rain is going to fall in a very short window. And that creates flash flooding potential in low-lying areas. For drought conditions, honestly, this is great news. The region needed the rain badly. For anyone driving, for anyone near low areas, for anyone whose neighborhood has flooded before. This is not the day to test it. Never drive through standing water. I know you've heard that before. I'm saying it again anyway because people still do it, and it still costs lives. Now, severe weather today. There is a marginal risk across a pretty wide stretch. San Antonio, Houston, Mobile, New Orleans, and over toward Panama City, Florida. Marginal doesn't mean nothing. It means it won't be widespread and organized, but the spots that do get hit can still get hit hard. For Houston, this morning there could be some elevated storms producing wind and hail. Not the main event, just be aware. The real peak of the severe weather window for Houston area will be somewhere around 3 to 4 in the afternoon. Damaging winds are the primary concern during that window. As the evening comes, severe weather starts winding down for Texas. But as we push into the overnight hours, if you're near New Orleans, Mobile, or back toward Panama City, a brief tornado becomes possible. That's an overnight threat, which means you need your phone on. Alerts turned on. Don't just go to sleep and assume everything's fine. Panama City area, today is going to be a rough afternoon for any outdoor or beach plans. Scattered rain through the afternoon, widespread by evening. Some of those storms could turn severe overnight into early Saturday morning. Okay, Saturday is where things get more significant. And I'll be up front, this one is literally in my backyard. I'm genuinely considering going out to chase this storm tomorrow. That's how real this is. The storm system pushes into Florida and Georgia on Saturday. And we have a slight risk of severe weather, which for 2026 in Florida is actually notable because this state hasn't seen much organized severe weather this year. The slight risk area covers Jacksonville back through Panama City, just north of the I-4 corridor around Tampa, Orlando, and Daytona Beach. Here's how Saturday plays out hour by hour. Early Saturday morning, this line of storms intensifies as it approaches the coastline. Widespread damaging wind potential comes with this. Most of it stays offshore, but not all of it. By around 10 or 11 in the morning, Storms are hitting Jacksonville and just north of Flagler Beach. If you're in Northeast Florida, that's your window to watch. Through the middle of the day, the most intense part of this storm enters north central Florida near the Gainesville area. Damaging winds remain the primary threat. But, and this is important, if this line develops any bowing segments as it comes onshore, there's an embedded tornado threat with it. Early to mid-afternoon, that same line pushes toward the I-4 corridor. Orlando area, Tampa area north of it, damaging winds again. And for Cedar Key specifically, I cannot fully rule out a strong tornado somewhere in that vicinity. If you live in that area, please take this seriously. Have a plan. Know where you're going if a warning gets issued. The good news, most of the severe weather should be wrapping up by 7 or 8 Saturday evening. So your Saturday morning and early afternoon, expect a disruption. Saturday night, probably okay. Sunday is mostly quiet. I want to say that clearly because after everything I just told you about Friday night and Saturday, people need to hear that there's a break coming. For most of the country, Sunday actually looks really good. Northeast has some stronger winds near the coast, a little rain passing through Sunday morning. Great Lakes could see some showers, maybe a couple afternoon thunderstorms near St. Louis. Isolated hail risk, very low end. But widespread severe weather? No, not Sunday. Use Sunday to recharge. Use it to make sure your phone alerts are set up properly. Check your emergency kit if you have one. Talk to your family about what to do if a tornado warning gets issued for your area. Because Monday through Wednesday, the second storm system arrives. And that's where I have some real concerns for next week. Monday is when the next storm system starts entering the country. And this one is actually a complex setup because we're going to have 2 separate low pressure centers at the same time, one up in Canada, one developing over the Central Plains. For Monday itself, I'm not overly concerned right now. Some isolated wind and hail is possible from Michigan down into Kansas. Maybe a low tornado risk here and there. But honestly, it looks disorganized, scattered. Not a day where I'd be telling everyone to clear their schedules. Tuesday is different. The models aren't completely in agreement on Tuesday. I want to be transparent about that. But the European model, which tends to be pretty reliable, has been consistently showing one thing: storms firing from the Dallas-Fort Worth area up through the Cleveland, Ohio corridor, wind, hail, and a low tornado risk along that line. If you live anywhere from North Texas through Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, or into Ohio, Tuesday is a day to stay plugged into your local weather. Now Wednesday. Wednesday is the day I'm watching most carefully right now, and also the one I have the most uncertainty about. If this storm system comes together the way some of the models are suggesting, Dixie Alley could be looking at an all-hazard severe weather event. That means damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. Potentially significant tornadoes. I'm not ready to tell you. Wednesday is definitely a major outbreak. It's still too far out to be that precise. But I'm watching it very closely. And I will have a dedicated update video out before Wednesday, so you have the most current picture. Thursday, storms move offshore. Things quiet down again. Another temporary reset. Let me zoom out for a second because I think it's worth understanding where all of this fits in the bigger picture of what May is setting up to be. The pattern we're in right now, this consistent troughing over Canada, cold air pressing south repeatedly, it's actually creating a pretty favorable environment for severe weather during the 2nd and 3rd weeks of May, specifically across the Great Plains, the Midwest, and back into the Ohio Valley. And when you have this type of atmospheric flow, storm systems tend to develop off the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains and then track northeast. That's a classic severe weather setup for the central United States. So while the first week of May has been characterized by these faster, smaller, more localized storm events, I think as we push deeper into May, we could see some more organized setups that affect broader areas across the plains and Midwest. This is a very different May than what most people expected. April gave us those big, dramatic, widespread, severe weather events that everyone was tracking together. May is shaping up to be more unpredictable in terms of exactly where the worst weather lands. Some areas that got hit hard in April might be quiet. Some areas that have been completely untouched might suddenly be in the middle of a significant outbreak. That unpredictability is exactly why staying informed matters so much right now. I want to take 2 minutes here because I say this in a lot of videos and I mean it every single time. The worst moment to figure out your severe weather plan is when a tornado warning has already been issued for your county. So right now, while you're watching this, while everything is calm, do these things. Open your phone settings and make sure wireless emergency alerts are turned on. It takes 30 seconds. A lot of people assume they're on and they're not. Check it. If you don't have a weather app with push notifications for your specific county, get one. The difference between getting a warning 2 minutes early and 2 minutes late is not a small thing when a tornado is moving at 50 miles per hour. Know your shelter location. If you're in a house with a basement, great, that's your spot. If you're in a house without a basement, interior room, lowest floor, away from windows, bathroom, closet, hallway. If you're in a mobile home, please have a plan to get somewhere more solid before storms arrive. Mobile homes are not safe in tornadoes or even strong straight-line winds. Talk to your family now about the plan, who's getting the kids, where everyone goes, what happens if a warning drops while someone is at work or school. These conversations take 10 minutes and they matter enormously. And for those of you in Florida, Gulf Coast, or anywhere under a threat this weekend specifically, Saturday morning is going to be rough in some spots. If you have early morning plans outdoors, just be flexible. Have a backup option. Let me bring it all together quickly. Today, Texas and Gulf Coast are dealing with heavy rain and flooding risk first, severe weather risk second. Houston peaks around 3 to 4 p.m. for damaging winds. Overnight threat near New Orleans and Mobile. Marginal risk overall, but real. Saturday, Florida and Georgia take the main hit. Slight risk from Jacksonville down through central Florida. Tallahassee and northeast Florida in the morning. I-4 corridor in the early to mid-afternoon. Cedar Key has an elevated tornado concern. Most severe weather done by 7 or 8 p.m. Sunday, quiet day for almost everyone. Use it. Monday, next storm system enters. Isolated threat, not well organized yet. Michigan down to Kansas. Tuesday, more organized. Dallas-Fort Worth to Cleveland corridor watching for wind, hail, tornado risk. Wednesday, the wild card. Potentially the most significant severe weather day of the week for Dixie Alley. All hazards possible if it comes together. More updates coming. Thursday, storms move out, things settle down. And then the second and third weeks of May. Expect more severe weather setups across the Great Plains and Midwest as this pattern continues to favor storm development off the Rockies. I'll have a focused update video out specifically on Tuesday and Wednesday's threat before those days hit. Make sure you're subscribed and the bell is on so that video reaches you the moment it's live. If you know someone in Florida, along the Gulf Coast, or in the central U.S. who needs to see this, share it with them. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely could matter. Stay weather aware out there. I'll see you in the next one.